Because in the US, Congress approved one act in 1970s that you cannot ask the census people, cannot ask any question about religious preference. So we don't have any exact data, even about Christian or about Catholic, about Jewish population, about Hindu population, about Muslim population. So all are guesstimate. Different people, they have different guesstimate. So about Muslims, always there is a discussion how many Muslims are here. About campuses, I think we can have at least the international students data we can find out from the Department of Education. I think they have the international student estimate in the American campuses. But again, the second generation of Muslims, those who are born and raised here, their numbers, they don't have that. So, Pew Charitable Trust, which we also did a project MAPS when I was in Georgetown University, they did some other studies and they came up with the idea or estimate that Muslims are 1% of the population. So if there are 325 million, so around 3.5, 3.25 million Muslims are there. The other Muslim scholars, they disputed that, and they, based on different studies, they estimated, as Dr. Islam was saying, that around 7 million, 2% of the Muslims. But again, if sometime when we are talking to the media people, so I told them very frankly that if Muslims are very happy when you are interviewing him or her, so maybe they will increase to 10 million, and if they are a little bit down at home, so maybe they will decrease the number, because nobody has any real solid data. But this is the range, around 3 to 7 million, this is the range of Muslim population here. So although there is a conflict or conflicting reports about the data, but some fundamental factors are almost accepted by everybody. For example, the Muslims numbers are increasing, either due to birth rate or due to immigration or a little bit conversion also involved. But Muslims number are increasing. There are setbacks also. There were setbacks like after September 11, right after September 11, a lot of deportation happened. There may be some illegal Muslims or some other, those who have some problem. And throughout from September 11 up till now, especially the Trump administration on different Muslim ban, you have heard about those things. And some immigration laws, maybe again Latinos, but also they have some impact on Muslims. So those conditions are there. So when I said that these are Muslims are living here with nightmares and sweet dreams, so nightmares are that when Muslims are being deported, those who don't have some legal status, and some Muslim scholars, they were, I think maybe they went outside and they were declined, the authorities declined them to issue any visa, and there are some struggles going on in the American courts. But generally, it is accepted that Muslim population is increasing. Maybe, and although it's increasing more than the American population is increasing, the percentage of increase or growth is more than the general American population is increasing. So a little bit about the American Muslim community, just to have some orientation. When we did survey, and after that, we did survey in 2001, 2004, then Pew people, they did survey, the Gallup people, they did surveys. So 3-4 characteristics of the Muslims are very much accepted. First of all, this is the most diverse community on this planet Earth. Muslim community, as a Muslim I'm saying that. When, according to our surveys, here in America, we have Muslims from 80 different countries. Yes, in other Western countries, in Australia, in Canada, in England, in European countries, we have a diverse community, but not that type of diversity. We have 80 different countries, and then we have very strong Muslim population among the indigenous, among Afro-Americans, and among the Latinos. We have a good percentage of Muslim population. In Canada, or in Australia, or in Britain, and especially in Europe, they have Muslim population, but over there we have concentration of certain countries in certain European countries. For example, in Germany, we have more Turks. In France, we have more from Algeria, more from Morocco, more from Senegal. In Belgium also we have more from Turkey and Morocco. In England, we have more from subcontinent, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. They have more people in numbers. So during the Hajj, which is coming maybe after 3 months, during the Hajj, the maximum Muslim diversity one can observe in Mecca and Medina. Over there, maybe more than 120 countries Muslim, or more than that, you can find them over there. They got together for this religious ritual annually. So they come to Mecca and perform Hajj. But after that, I think the maximum wonderful diversity of Muslim population you can find in the United States. That is a very unique characteristics of American Muslim community here. And sometimes we say that, okay, if you like to see any Muslim from any country, Cambodia, when you name it, Bosnia and Kosovo and some other, so either you can, I think you have two options. Either you can go to the Hajj and you can find that Muslim, or come to the United States and you can have a meeting with that type of Muslim from any other country. So that is a one characteristic. One is their numbers are increasing. Number two is their diversity. Number three is it is relatively young. As immigrants, I think it's because more than 90% Muslim immigrants, they started coming in after 1965, but during the Lyndon B. Johnson period, when Congress passed the act and they opened up the immigration laws. So since then, more and more Muslims are coming. So the diversity and their growth, and they are young, and then they also relatively they are more educated, more financially stable. Relatively, not that everybody is Muslim is saying that they have the problem, but relatively we compare with the general American population, they are more young, they are more educated, they are more active, and so and so. These are to some extent, these are the characteristics of the American Muslim community. Probably here in this area, what I found out since yesterday I'm here in this area. First of all, it remembers me my own days in the University of Connecticut when I was there in the 80s. Muslims from other countries, and we also have not this awareness week, but we like to have this Dawa booth and some international fairs, MSA booth, and doing all those activities. And I came to know here and also in the University of Idaho, those activities are going on and more organized, mashallah. But this Muslim community, they are, since September 11, they are living in that category which I explained, that in nightmares, simultaneously nightmares and with sweet dreams. Since September 11, there is a push, there is a microscopic analysis or scrutiny of the community, what is going on. And initially, if you remember, and we analyzed the data, initially all allegation or blame went to the overseas Muslims. But then slowly it changed, and certain people, law enforcement agencies, some religious extremist people, some other so-called experts, some think tanks, they started blaming that no, these masajid in in the US, they are having some sleeper cell, or they are having the violence and weapons are there, and they like to do this violence here. And more scrutiny was happening here in America. Then I think the last couple of years you find, maybe if somebody is analyzing the news, someone in Florida, in California, in New York, some different states, the news are coming, okay, there is some bomb threat. And whenever that incident happens, any school shooting, bomb threat, so always Muslims start thinking, oh my God, again, here we go again. Maybe another Muslim name. And when it is a not a Muslim name, a lot of Muslims, they take the sigh of relief. Oh, thank God, it was not a Muslim case. So those type of pressure, and then also discrimination in the public places, in schools, where children are facing them, maybe teachers are saying something, maybe their co-students, they are doing something in public school especially. And also in workplace, and in some masajid, they also got bomb threat, and different type of letters or emails, and all those are coming. These type of things are happening from government agencies, from white, means the very nationalist groups, and some religious people also. I mean, for example, it used to be on fringes. Some people were saying, in minor blogging they were saying, but right now it has become as a mainstream function. In the mainstream media, in mainstream blogging, media is covering them, different organizations are covering them. And there is an industry of Islamophobia. And several people, I think the CARE, one of the Muslim organizations, they issued a wonderful report, we also contributed. And how many millions of dollars certain organizations, foundations are giving to certain organizations to create more, means the environment or atmosphere of fear and hate against Muslims, against Islam. So these are, and especially September 11, and then during this recent election campaign of Trump and winning of Trump, this presidency, these things become very much official. For example, this newly Secretary of State who was appointed, before that he was a CIA chief. He said before that the Islam is a cancer. We have to get rid of that. So that was his thought, and now he's becoming the Secretary of State. Let's see what will happen. So my point is that since September 11, this American Muslim community who was increasing, their numbers were growing. They are part of the American religious landscape and fabric. They are under pressure, and especially that pressure from a different corners. They are feeling and they are facing those pressures. And so they are absorbing that. So one point I would like to make, this is not a new thing. In American history, it is not that only it happened to Muslims, that this discrimination, propaganda against Muslims, nightmares against one community, it is not a very unique thing only happening to the Muslim. If we go through the American history, it happened to Native Americans, it happened to Afro-Americans, it happened to American Jewish, it happened to American Catholics, it happened to American Germans, it happened to Japanese Americans during World War II, when 120,000 Japanese Americans were put into internment camp. And remember, 70,000 of those people, they were citizens. It's not the case that it only happening, it is with green cards and illegal, no, they were citizens. And funny thing was, right now it looks very funny, that the media made a lot of propaganda against Japanese Americans during the World War II. Then they put into the camp. Congress passed that act. President signed it. When it was challenged in the Supreme Court also said it was okay. Even American Supreme Court once said that slavery was also okay. But then now, after several years, the American government officially apologized that we did make a mistake. But it happened. My point is that it happened to other communities before that, and now it is happening to Muslims. So that is a one story, and we can build that what is the media propaganda is going on. The discrimination cases officially in the FBI reports and the different type of center reports and media portrayal, it is going higher up and up against Muslims. So, but that is a half story. That is a half glass empty, but there is a half glass full also. There is the other side of the story also. That because it happened to other communities, and Muslims, they have learned from other communities. They have learned from their Jewish brothers and sisters. They have learned from their Catholic brothers and sisters. They have learned from their other Christian brothers and sisters how they are from, especially from Afro-American also, from their struggle, how to counter those type of situations, how to counter those type of nightmares. And also Muslims believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Wallahu khairul makirin, means that Allah is the best planner against all those people who are making plans against Muslims, against Islam. Allah is the best planner to counter all those allegations. And this, means the manifestation of this ayah we have seen here in the United States. And I like to share with some of those ideas which I said, the sweet dreams. For example, during the election campaign, I don't know whether, I know that during student life it's not possible to monitor all those what is happening. But during the election campaign, the Republican candidates, they were very furious against Islam. They were making every day a lot of comments about Islam and about Muslim population. Especially, I think the Ben Carson, I think he's the head of the one department. Trump also made that, and after the presidency in the Muslim ban and all those things, he's continuously doing that. So there was a lot of all these comments and propaganda against Islam and different observation against Muslims. But very interestingly, there is one named Professor Shibli Telhami. He's a professor at the University of Maryland. He's a researcher on Middle East and Muslims and in the United States. He wrote one wonderful piece last year in Washington Post on January 25th during the election campaign, and then Trump has won the election, and I think it is about a time of inauguration. So he published that piece, How Trump Changed Americans' View of Islam for the Better. So he made that because he did 4 surveys during the election campaign. In October 15 to October 16, before the election happened in November 16. So his organization in University of Maryland, they did 4 surveys, and they asked one question about the Americans' behavior or their opinion on American Muslims, on Muslims generally. What is your attitude about each of the following, the Muslim people? That is the question he asked in all those 4 surveys. And according to his analysis, although the rhetoric from the Republican candidate, from the President Trump was increasing and growing against of Islam and Muslims, but the American public attitude changing, going other way around. For example, the first survey they did in November 2015, second in May 2016, pre-Orlando, and I think big incident happened in Orlando in that bar. Second in June 2016, post-Orlando, and the third one, and the fourth one in October 2016. So 4 surveys, and same question he asked again and again in all those 4 surveys. So he collapsed this very favorable and somewhat favorable opinion of Americans about Muslim people. In the first survey, it was 53%. Second survey, it was 58%. Third survey, it was 62%. And fourth survey, it was 72%. So that is a way, that sweet dreams type thing, that nightmares are that now again speaking against Islam and against Muslim becoming very official and mainstream. People are talking about, but at the same time, somehow the American public opinion is changing other way around. And that was Professor Shibli Telhami made that point in that piece in Washington Post very forcefully, that this is happening in the ground reality. And Muslims should also think about, these are some favorable things are also going on, and they should continue whatever they have been doing. So why it is happening? I think what happened basically that since September 11, Muslim community, although it's a small community, 1% or 2%, in campuses, in other communities, in masajid. No, Muslims have almost, I think they have 3,000 mosques. They have 70% mosques, they have Sunday schools or weekend schools. They have national organizations, they are working, they are relief organizations, they have advocacy organizations, they have specialized organizations. That's the overall landscape of the American Muslim community and its activities, and we can talk more about that. But I think since September 11, their learning curve is going very upward. That is the plus sign. There are negative signs also, no question about that. But I think that is the positive sign. And I like to mention those, some of those points. What Muslims, they have learned from September 11, and also since that the pressure is very much on them. The microscopic scrutiny is also upon them. A lot of these type of threats and all these are perceptions and media portrayal is also against them, but still they are learning. I think the fundamental change happened among the immigrant Muslim community especially. Before September 11, they were living here just physically. Mentally and spiritually, they used to live back home. If your parents are coming from Egypt, they always think about Egypt. Coming from Pakistan, always think about Pakistan. Going back, myth of return is very popular concept. Dr. Anwar in Britain, I think several years before, he wrote a book on myth of returns among the immigrants. That immigrants come here, they will say, no, I'm here only for education, some degree, and little bit some earning money, then I'm going back. But after maybe 1 year and 5 years and 10 years and 20 years, 25 years, answering the same, but they are not going back. That myth of return is among the immigrant communities. But what happened, I think September 11 pushed them, because when the question became the question of survival, they thought that we should not be here only physically, we should be here mentally, we should be here spiritually, and especially the second generation. I also have children and grandchildren. They also push the parents, no, you are here, you are not going back. When you are here, then work for the community, and more than community, work for the society. Work for the betterment of the society. So that change, fundamental change in attitudes and thinking process, that's number one thing happened. Number two, the American mosque, they have become a very hub of all Muslim activities. Back home in Muslim majority countries, maybe they have different channels. Over there, mosques are being controlled by the authorities. Some countries, they have very strictly official sermon, Jummah khutbah, and they have to deliver that. Or the mosques are being used only for prayer and little bit of Quran teaching, not else. No other activities are allowed generally. I'm not talking about every country, but I'm saying generally that is the case. But here, our mosques, they have become the hub of all Muslim activities. So you can have prayer, you can have Friday prayer, you can have Eid prayer, fine. But then you have youth halaqas, you have women halaqas, you have general halaqas, you have political activities, you have sports activities in several places. So you have a lot of these activities. And women's role is very important in those masajid. In back home Muslim majority country, in some of the places, women don't come to the masajid. And I personally observed that in Pakistan. I mentioned that in one Eid prayer a couple of years before I offered in Islamabad, and that was Air Force sector, very like liberal and progressive and all those people. But in the masjid Eid prayer, all 1800, 1900 only were men. Absolutely no woman or girl was there. So there are some fiqh, means that some interpretation issues are there. But here in America, women are very much part and parcel of the Muslim activities. They are in the leadership role. In all these educational activities, mainly the women are doing that. And here nobody can conceive that we will have Jummah prayer or Eid prayer or any other activities and women are not there. It is impossible to conceive that. So the masajid role has been changed. It's a very comprehensive, and that was the blessing. And since September 11, there used to be some discussion whether women should be allowed or not, whether we should become citizen or not, whether we should give vote or not, or voting is haram or forbidden. So a lot of people, they used to make those type of discussion. No more. No, they understood we have to be involved. And another also point happened that the masajid or the national organizations, they are becoming more involved in interfaith activities. Before that, interfaith dialogue was a curse, not only in Muslims, and I understand among some Christian circles also, especially the evangelical circles, interfaith dialogue is a curse. I remember I was in Georgetown and one evangelical Christian, is a TV producer also, he came and he asked me, do you believe in salvation through Jesus? I said, no, the Muslim belief is different. He said, because you don't believe in salvation through Jesus, we cannot have a dialogue with you. Because according to us and the evangelical Christian, all of those who don't believe salvation through Jesus, they will go to hell. So we don't have any dialogue. So I jokingly said to him that I understand, but I know that you are having a conversation with Catholic. So why not, just jokingly, I told him that why not you start whispering with Muslims? If you cannot have dialogue, fine. You cannot have conversation, fine. Then start whispering, at least for the betterment of this society. And very interestingly, Muslims, when we see analyze their attitudes in different surveys, it's very interesting. You cannot pigeonhole American Muslim in a conservative or progressive boxes. Because on the issue of marriage and values and wedding and all those value issues, they are very much, their views are, majority of the Muslims, their views are near the evangelical Christian, very religious people. On the issue of supporting the poor and immigrants and all those issues and against war, their opinion is very much to Democrat and the liberal and progressive groups. So it is difficult to pigeonhole. So I make the same argument that for the betterment of the society, against materialism, for the values, for this sanctity of marriage, we should work together. But he was not ready to do that, but that's fine. But I'm saying that Muslims are becoming more involved in these interfaith dialogues, and everywhere, local levels, national levels, at the state level, not only dialogue, but also working together with other communities. I'm part of ICNA, Islamic Circle of North America, is a national organization. And recently, last weekend, alhamdulillah, we had a national convention, 43rd of our strength. This is the 50th year ICNA has completed. And there were 22,000 people came to that convention. It was huge. It was, I think right now it is the largest Muslim convention in the country. So ICNA has a department, one for domestic relief, ICNA Relief. And they have worked for last 4 or 5 years, more than 40 disasters in the country. And whenever they work through FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management or Association or whatever, agency, Federal Emergency Management Agency. But also with Jewish groups, Lutheran groups, Methodist groups, Catholic groups, Catholic charities. So we always work with them. And that's the Muslims are learning. And then there are some, I think, partnership for against torture, for workers' justice. So those type of the communities are working. And they have learned since September 11 that there is no other way in America. They have learned from other communities that they organize, they created partnership, and they work together, and ultimately their voices were heard. So Muslims are also learning that. And that is, yes, nightmares are there, but sweet dreams are also there. The Muslims are becoming more part and parcel of that. Why becoming more part and parcel of that? There is a struggle among Muslims, it's a 50 year versus 200 years. What is that, 50 years versus 200 years? The other communities, Jewish communities, American Catholic, they have time span of more than 200 years to settle down in America. They went through all those stages of establishing places of worship, sending money back home, transferring their faith and tradition to younger generation, raising their own issues and their problem, but ultimately they have learned that they have to work for the betterment of the society. So if you know that, this national NAACP, this is the advancement of the colored people. I think that's they're one of the major organizations of Afro-American people, and the maybe more than 100 years old. It's a very big organization, a lot of budget, what I heard, I like to research that initially the white Jewish people, I think they work for them. You know that during the Roosevelt era, after World War II, they have offered a New Deal. New Deal means that the rights for the farmers, right for the laborers, right for the those communities which are left out, and a lot of rules and laws were changed, and it was very famous. The New Deal is very famous in American history. But Republicans used to say that this is a Jew deal, because this young Jewish professional, they are offering all those laws and rules and regulation for the betterment of Afro-American people, the other minorities. They are offering those rules and regulation and act, and Roosevelt is doing that. So for Muslims also, the point was that what happened and what the other communities they have achieved in 200 years. For Muslims, it's the majority of the immigrants, they came here after 1965, and September 11 pushed them to do in 50 years what the other communities they have done in 200 years. That is the perplexed situation where Muslims are in. Mentally, they were not mature enough to go into that issue, that all those stages of development here go into the issues of the society, but they have to do that. They have to do that. And that is the situation at this time, 50 years versus 200 years, and Muslim nightmares versus sweet dreams, that we need more time, but we don't have the time, and Muslims have to prove that yes, they are working for the betterment of the society also. So that is the main message, that is the main point, and for that is what I'm saying, that the American mosque become more absorbing diversity, more balanced approach, more about women are involved, more young ones are involved, more interfaith activities, more involvement in social services. Different organizations they are organizing, like ICNA Relief, they have 18 women shelters, they have 31 food pantries. As I mentioned, they have more than 14 disasters they have participated to relief work. So all these free health clinics, and several Muslim communities are doing that. So they are getting more and more involved. And now it is very common even during Ramadan, whenever they are doing the iftar, breaking like fast and having the dinner, not only inviting the local official in the mosque, but also doing a dinner or iftar dinner for the homeless shelter. In several places they are doing that. Eid al-Adha, when the second Eid comes after Hajj, Muslims have to sacrifice lamb or share in a cow. In several places, 1/3 has to be distributed among the poor. In several places, they collected those 1/3 and give it to the food banks, give it to the homeless shelters. So these type of activities are going on, but needs are there, but more and more activities should be done. Another point also, as I said, there used to be debate whether Muslims should be taking part in the civic engagement or not. It was a very hot topic once. And a lot of Muslims, they came from those countries where they have dictatorship, where they have the president or king, they are working, and everything comes from that higher place. So they thought also naturally that it's also in America, President White House is the most important thing. But then they realized in America, the local council, city and county is more important sometimes than White House. So now I think Muslims are getting that idea also, them involving in the civic engagement for social justice issues, becoming the voter, register themselves, and then also taking part in the local politics, the local civic engagement. This year, for example, more Muslims are contesting election, not only becoming voter, not only working with the authorities, because every 4 years in the US, we elect 500,000 people from local election to the White House. And then after that, almost 500,000 people are also got nomination in different type of commission at every level, local level, county level, state level, and federal government level. So almost million people got involved. And here the committee, they should also think about that we should also be involved. And I think the young ones, our professional, those who are second generation, and those maybe they came here from other countries, but then they adopt to stay here, they should be more and more involved in all those issues. That is very, very much important. And I think the things are becoming in that way. So these are the challenges, and these are the nightmares, and these are the opportunity also is going on. And that is, at this time, this is a crossroad where Muslims are in at this time. And they are at this crossroad, that how to do that. So there is no way going back. There is no way that they will be going back to their country of origin. They are staying here. Their second generation or third generation is here. More and more people, or more and more Muslims, they are coming to the US, although maybe they are less numbers, but more like the family reunion, some other programs. And this is very funny thing. America, I think before the Vietnamese war in Vietnam, there were very few Vietnamese living in America. After the Vietnam American indulgence and war, no, I think there are more than 1 million Vietnamese living in America. Recently I was in LA and Orange County. I came to know that this is the Little Saigon village. And they were claiming that the Vietnamese population out of Vietnam in the world, you can find more Vietnamese here in this small area of Orange County. Same thing then when America is involving itself in a civil war or attacking a country, then he has to absorb, or she has to absorb several people. Now I think we have more Somalian here, more Iraqi, more Afghani. No, Syrian is a phenomena of the global phenomena. So because that is the American foreign policy, it has unintended consequences. They want to do something, but then unintended consequences is that more and more people from that country, they are coming and living here in America. So all this way, the numbers are increasing, but they are also learning fast that there is no other way, that they have to organize, they have to make alliances with other groups at local level, and they have to work for the betterment of the society. And then this way, ultimately, their voices will be heard. So I will try to end this way. I think last night also in the mosque I was giving that, I think we should have a bigger perspective of the American Muslim population here, what they are doing. The instruction in the Quran Majid, or the Sunnah, the action and the saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, nobody can change till Qiyamah, till the end of this world. However, the application of those instructions are different in different parts of the world. And some of the scholars, they have mentioned or divided the world in 6 cultural zones of Islam. And in these 6 cultural zones of Islam, Islam is the same, but the application, manifestation of Islam is different. For example, they made 6 cultural zones. One is the Arab cultural zone, Arab Peninsula, where including North Africa countries, 28 countries, I think the Arabic is the compulsory language. That is the first cultural zone because Islam started over there. Second is the Sub-Sahara Africa, the Black Africa. That is the second cultural zone. Third is the Ottoman Empire area, the cultural zone of that Turkish area, including Russia and including Eastern Europe or Central Asia. Then the fourth is the Persian cultural zone. Fifth is the subcontinent, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, that area. And 6 is the Malay cultural zone, where Malaysia and Singapore and Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines. These are the 6 cultural zones. So what is happening in the West, and especially in America, that people from these 6 cultural zones, they are coming to America and the West. Then they have second generation or third generation. Then they have interaction with the indigenous Afro-American population here, especially in America. They have almost 20-25% of Afro-American population. And then their second generation and third generation, and all of these Muslims, 6 cultural zones and the indigenous Muslim here, they have interaction with the larger American society. With this interaction or communication, a new cultural zone is being emerged in America. That is work in progress. Where, for example, in 6th cultural zone, if you go there, you just see how they pray in the mosque. You will find a lot of variation. If you observe the wedding or marriage ceremony, you will find huge variation in different cultural zones. Even there are subcultural zones, you will find different type of variation. Basic instruction is that they should be married between male and female. But then there are a lot of other peripheral, different customs, different traditions. In every cultural zone, they are doing that. But here in this 7th cultural zone, there will be some new interpretation. And there are struggles going on, for example, here. The first generation always has a conflict about what to wear, what to eat. Second generation don't have any problem. So for them, the first generation, sometime eating baklava or eating biryani is pure Islamic. And all other eating may be not very much Islamic. Back home it is okay, but here for the second generation, eating pizza and eating Subway and going everywhere, it is also Islamic. So those type of discussion and understanding going on, and I think now because the second generation is very much up, now we have third generation, that discussion happened, and now it is almost becoming over and settling it down. But those new cultural zone where some of the new interpretation, new thought, new discussion, that is also going on. And I think intellectually, there is another challenge also. There are certain objection on Islam. Islam miscondone violence, jihad is violence, who will declare jihad, what is the role and status of women, what is the role and status of non-Muslim in the Islamic State. All these, I think some maybe you can find out and you can make maybe 10 to 15 standard questions, and over there again and again Western media sometimes push that and hammer those issues. Maybe some of the answer in those cultural zones will be different, but some of the answer in this 7th cultural zone will also be different. So there is open debate is going on. So a lot of issues, maybe sometime back home discussion is not very much welcome. But here, Muslims are doing all those discussions and very open-minded. And that should be welcome. So that also discussion going on, and that is also a sweet dream that they can openly discuss those issues. There could be difference of opinion, and that difference of opinion is also very barakah in blessing for the development of the knowledge and Muslim Ummah. So that should also be welcome. So that is happening. So all those issues, they are this new cultural zone, they are new interpretation and open discussion, and becoming more and more beneficiary to the American public, to the society, to their neighbor, and becoming not only with talking but walking Islam, and also becoming a practical, solid example of Islam. That is the way of our future for the Muslim community to organize themselves, to have partnership, and to become a practical example, walking and talking Islam. That is the only way, and that is the way we can confront and we can defeat all those nightmares, and then sweet dreams could also be helpful for us, that here the American Muslim should become more beneficiary. That is the point we have been discussing with the policymaker in Washington, D.C., that don't consider Muslims only as a foreign assets or international issue. No, yes, international students are very important, they are coming to the campuses, but Muslims are here, they have same aspirations, they have same problem which other American regular neighbors or citizens they are facing. And I gave that example in University of Idaho also when I was teaching a course on Muslims in America. So I asked the student to go to the other places of worship. For example, Muslims should go to the synagogue or the churches, and other students should go to the mosque and other places of worship, and observe what is the sitting arrangement, what is the demographic composition, means gents and women, how they are being treated, what is the sermon, who is doing that sermon, either Jummah khutbah or synagogue or the churches, and then the content analysis about the khutbah, about the sermons. When I graded those papers, it was very interesting. It was revealing 70% of the contents in the mosque, in the synagogue, and in churches, they are the same. As a priest is going on, as a rabbi is giving that sermon, or imam is giving that khutbah, 70% topics are the same concerns about vulgarity in the media, about youth are not coming to their tradition, about the violence or drug issue in the society. All those issues are very much common to everybody. So we are also talking to American policymakers that they're the same issue we are facing. We should not be treated as just as a foreign assets or international issues or only terrorism and security. More than that, we like to contribute in the policy debate. We have experts of any field, if you let me know, and we can find experts among the Muslims here, because highly educated people here, American Muslims. And you can have example here in these universities and anywhere if you go there, they are available. So, but we like to be involved in those debates. If we are seen in this way that they are doing for betterment of their neighbors and community and the society, then it will be more helpful. And Muslims are also learning from here how to work together, how to have a tolerance and among more working together. And these Muslims could become a bridge between USA and the Muslim world. But if they consider just as an asset and foreign issue and other, then these community cannot become a bridge between the USA and the Muslim world. So these are the struggle we are going on, we are going through. So that is the story of American Muslim community living with the nightmares and sweet dreams. But we are hoping, inshallah ta'ala, that with the development of this new cultural zone, with the development of this new attitude of working for together and working for the society, betterment of the society, inshallah ta'ala, American Muslim will also overcome these nightmares and their impact and more become the sweet dreams, and they spread these sweet dreams among their neighbors and among the Muslim community. So thank you very much.
I just have a quick question for the cultural zones that you mentioned. Do you see any effective social media or media in general that all the world kind of sharing, having an effect in changing those zones, or how those zones are interacting with one another?
No, I think that social media this is the new wave of communication. Before that, also people used to communicate a lot, but social media is instant communication. So I think it is a positive contribution. But my only concern is that how much Muslim youth, is male and female, how much they are involved. Because sometimes we analyze the reports. For example, in New York Times, Los Angeles Times, or any other newspaper, there is a positive story about Muslims or Islam. But if you go to the comments, maybe there are 300 comments, and majority of those comments are negative. So it happened. But now Muslims should also wake up. Muslim, especially youth are partying in the universities and colleges and schools, and we are also asking Muslim women too. So just you have smartphone, use that very wisely. And whenever you study that type of comments and a report, just maybe one phrase, one word, a comment, or maybe I think I say my children also, they write very fast. I cannot write very fast when we have to do a little one by one. So why not make the comment over there? Involved in the social media. And then there is a lot of questions are being asked in social media, and there are a lot of young scholars, they are answering. So social media is a jungle. You have to find the proper trees and proper field to go through that. Otherwise, you could be lost. But I think social media is contributing. I think the American president is contributing to all this tweet. It's a tweet presidency. And not only American president, no, I came to know a lot of other presidents are doing the same thing. Any major announcement they are doing through tweet. So I think this is the way, this is the 21st century, we have to be more. So rather it will communicate more what you are facing in America, those challenges and those opportunities, they will communicate to the Muslim world and the other world very swiftly. Okay, what are the challenges and how Muslims are facing here.